And we're back. This is Shape Your Life. Continuing on our topic, living with HIV is not easy as it affects a person's life in a few ways, one of those being your diet.
Kezia, the 1st of December celebrates World AIDS Day. It's about helping those and creating an awareness about living with HIV and AIDS if you suffer from it, but also about passing the message on about preventative measures. What does the role of food play when it comes to helping those with HIV and AIDS?
Right. What I just need to inform you is that food does play a role. However, it's not a cure for contracting HIV AIDS or contracting or it's not a mechanism for you actually to prevent contracting HIV AIDS.
So would you advise someone who's HIV positive or AIDS, has AIDS to do a combined integrative approach to living a healthy lifestyle by chatting to their GP, going to their clinic, dealing and taking the medication consistently and following a healthy eating strategy?
You must remember is that the clients or patients who have been infected with HIV AIDS have got a very low immune system. So definitely a nutrition intervention to help boost their immune status is going to make a very big difference in these clients' lives.
But when you say nutrition intervention status, what does that entail?
All right, so their nutrition status is basically going to start revolving around the amount of muscle tissue that they do have, also their overall weight status. Unfortunately, for a lot of clients who have been infected or patients who have been infected with HIV/AIDS do suffer from malnutrition. So their weight does play a big role into developing a healthy weight status. At the same time, so that the side effects and other infections that you can get of being infected with AIDS, it doesn't come about in the client.
But dealing with weight loss is something that's critical when it comes to managing a person who's HIV positive. How do you tackle that from a nutrition perspective? Understanding that many people don't have flamboyant budgets to go out there and spend on every possible food source out there. They deal with having the basic food and staple meal that they have, which is pap and bread and some meat. Is that enough, or should they bring in some veggies and fruits?
The most important thing, if you can sort of deal with two factors in terms of a patient who has been infected with HIV/AIDS, is to boost their immune system and secondly to maintain a healthy weight status. So the first thing is, let's concern ourselves with maintaining a healthy weight. What a healthy weight definitely means is not to be underweight and not to have an overweight or obese BMI. So just concentrate on your healthy food. Healthy food would be a lot of lean animal-based protein. If you don't have any kinds of income to afford an animal-based protein, go for your vegetable-based, maybe some baked beans. You can have a lot of grains. You can also include a lot of your starches, which are very nutrient-dense. They have been fortified with nutrients as well. So choosing your pap, your samp, a lot of them on shelves are fortified with the nutrients that you need. So everyone can have a basic healthy lifestyle, but at the same time, veggie gardens, you don't need a lot of money to actually start up a vegetable garden. And there you can get in a lot of your vegetable intakes, but also your fruit intake by growing some fruit trees.
Now, dealing with a compromised immune system is essentially what HIV and AIDS is about. Are there any particular foods that one should be conscious of consuming more often?
All right, so it's your immune boosting foods. So that's the most important thing, is that if you can include these kinds of foods in your diet, it definitely is going to make a big difference for you. So the first one would be including a lot of your antioxidant rich foods. What an antioxidant basically is just the chemical inside of the food which just gives that improved function to immunity. So berries, your blueberries, your blackberries, cherries, grapes are very high in antioxidants, as well as any other fruits really that you can find on the market. Maybe watermelon, pineapple, there's antioxidants in apples, so everybody can get a lot of immune boosting functions from those kinds of foods. A lot of your vegetables also. Why I'm including vegetables is because to have an improved immune system, you shouldn't be deficient in any kind of vitamins or minerals. So ensure very colorful plates, maybe have some tomatoes, some spinach, put in some broccoli, put in some cauliflower, so that there's a lot of color, a lot of variety, and this will ensure that you do get a lot of nutrient definition in your food.
So it's about wholesome food, it's about the right foods, and just having a colorful plate.
Colorful plate. So besides the colorful plate, you also should be focusing on whole grains. When you look at a plate, there's a lot of salads, there's a lot of veggies, but also the kinds of starches that you would be choosing. What I would suggest is to go for a whole grain as opposed to a very processed, refined carbohydrate. What I mean by processed or refined is maybe going for, instead of cake flour, maybe going for brown flour. Instead of choosing white rice, you could choose a brown basmati rice. These kinds of whole grain foods would be far better for the individual to boost your immune system.
When it comes to dealing with HIV, medicine has gotten pretty advanced over the years, including for those with a high risk of contracting HIV. We sat down with Dr. Oscar Khadebe to find out more about pre-exposure prophylaxis and its benefits. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us on Shape Your Life.
Thank you very much for having me today.
I'd like to start off by understanding what is PrEP and what does it do?
Well, PrEP, in short, is pre-exposure prophylaxis. So basically that means if someone wants, for example, to start preventing themselves from getting HIV, so meaning that you have to be HIV negative. It focuses on people who have significant risk of getting HIV. That is people, for example, who know that they don't use condoms consistently. It's actually, in addition to the combination prevention that we already have, because we know we still have an ongoing HIV or prevalence of HIV in our country. And that also, talks about the prevention methods that we have today, which probably are not working as much. So PrEP, brings a new opportunity for us to actually engage on it.
What is the benefits of utilizing PrEP?
I think one of the biggest benefits we have, as you know, we've got this 90-90 strategy. And the 90-90 strategy basically means that 90% of people needs to get tested, and 90% of people needs to be engaged in care, and 90% of those people needs to be virally suppressed once they started antiretroviral therapy. And one of the challenges is when you're starting on PrEP, it gives you that sort of a continuous engaging in care. So, for example, you test with HIV. So you test for HIV and you're HIV negative, and then you are screened as HIV negative. You started on PrEP. Now you come back every 3 months to retest again to see if you are still HIV negative. This engages people on care. Because remember, initially we used to test people for HIV. If you're HIV negative, say come back after 3 months. And then people don't come back.
When we're looking at PrEP now, is this something that you take like a multivitamin? Every morning you wake up and you take it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to understand, because if people begin to utilize this as the crutch or an excuse to say, yo, I can take PrEP, I don't have to, have protected sex anymore, will it be at a risk of that mindset change that we create where they just don't care anymore?
I think, I like what you're mentioning in terms of equating PrEP to multivitamin. And I know people are antiretrovirals. When you hear antiretrovirals, oh my goodness, you're HIV positive. Yeah. So I think taking the stigma away from, taking something like an antiretroviral treatment to prevent HIV would be equating it to something like a multivitamin. So I think there's opportunities here to educate the public around PrEP. It's not necessarily focusing only just to say take the antiretroviral pill and then you are going to be focusing on that, and then the anxiety of taking the pill, will it do a damage on me? So there's safety issues that we look around when you're starting with PrEP.
Are there any side effects to utilizing PrEP?
I think in any pill that you take, there's side effects. And I think based on the clinical trials that we've seen before, and I mean a lot of clinical trials, I think from 2012, since now internationally, have shown that taking PrEP actually, because PrEP is a combination of 2 tablets, which is your Truvada and your metricitabine. And those are tablets which also potentially have side effects, but we rarely see side effects. And what is nice about it is those treatment, those 2 drugs, are actually part of the 3-drug regimen that you see as fixed dose therapy. So basically, you are taking something that is already being initiated in the public space. 80% of the patients that I've seen and are started on PrEP have actually not even reported any side effects. They might have startup side effects, which take about 3 days or 4 days, and then they're fine with it.
Is there a 100% guarantee that PrEP will prevent you contracting HIV?
Well, there's nothing 100%. And I think that's very important to know. You cannot say that, because I can think we have actually quantified, and most of the studies have quoted around 90% and also close to 100% if you use combination prevention. That means you don't look at PrEP only. Remember, PrEP prevents you from getting HIV. It does not prevent you from getting STI. It does not prevent you from getting pregnant if you're a woman. So basically, PrEP is in addition to the combination prevention that we already have in our country. I don't see my clients basically as patients. I see them as, as someone who's a client who's coming in, to actually engage with me and find the best option for them for prevention.
Where can we find PrEP? And is it an expensive medication to now start taking?
I think these are some of the issues that we had to discuss with the pharmaceutical. Department of Health engaged a lot in terms of PrEP, because I think the guidelines for PrEP, the first guidelines were through the HIV Clinician Society, where they launched in 2012, where we actually looked at the guidelines of safe use of PrEP in people who are at significant risk of HIV. So those guidelines were available already around 2012, 2010. And I think one of the challenges is cost. So every drug has a cost attached to it. But then also engaging with the pharmaceutical countries internationally, they've made PrEP affordable. But we're lucky now because with the rollout of PrEP in the government setting, we've got designated sites, which are clinics, and these are demonstration sites where we initiate PrEP for free. What is nice, the MCC, the Medical Control Council, in 2015 has made approval of a Truvada to be used for PrEP. Remember, antiretrovirals were used for treatment of HIV.
Yes. When we look a few years ago, the morning after pill became the solution for unwanted pregnancies.
Yes.
You know, if you had a night out and you had unprotected sex, you know, everyone's at the pharmacy getting the morning after pill. My concern would be is that this would become that crutch. How do we ensure that this becomes not just a crutch, but like you said, a combination preventive strategy within our South Africans' mindset?
So we look at the perspective in terms of saying, look, we need to package PrEP better. If you look at experiences from first world countries, where PrEP was not received very well, I mean, they were focusing on high-risk individuals, and it became a negative backlash to a lot of people. They say, okay, if you are taking PrEP, it means you're going to sleep around. And you're quite right. It might be misused or misinterpreted to a lot of people to say, actually, people who need PrEP are those people who are actually high-risk people. No, it's not that. That's why we actually say significant risk of getting HIV. If you're in a discordant relationship, for example, your partner is HIV positive, they might be taking their pill or they might be taking their treatment, attend to it, you know, religiously, but you find there are times where we are human beings, you know, we miss our doses and the viral load goes up. So you cannot use someone else to, you know, guarantee your safety. So those are people who are at significant risk of getting HIV. So yes, it is the potential that it can be misused and misinterpreted. We are very careful. There's proper assessment. There is risk assessment that we do. We make sure that you are safe before we can actually put you on PrEP.
That's amazing news and amazing work being done by the team. I congratulate you and the rest of the team that's part of this whole process to identify how it works. Doctor, thank you for taking time out of your diary. I know it's a very busy period for you with World AIDS Day around us, and you know, you took time out to come and educate myself and our viewers, and that is something that is priceless. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Exercise is one way of kicking unwanted habits. Not only does it revitalize the body, it revives the mind. Why don't you join us for this week's exercise routine? It's a beautiful summer's day and Shape Your Life comes to you from a park. Now you might think a park is there to just relax and have fun with the family, but did you know you can use a simple park bench to get a total body workout? Now I've got Bronwyn with me and we're going to show you some basic exercises you can do with your partner, friends and family to get fit and healthy in this beautiful weather. Bronwyn, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, the first exercise is as follows. Sit towards the edge of the bench, place your hands next to you for balance and lean back. And then from there, I want you to start doing some foot taps, keeping your knee bent. What this does is engage your lower abs and also the thigh muscles. So it's a multifunctional exercise, but also brings in some cardio and fat burn. If you are feeling a bit more advanced, you can bring the hands up or take the hands over your head, and that really does engage your abs. You do this for 1 minute. All right, so far so good. How are you feeling?
Great.
You warmed up? That's fabulous. The next exercise focuses once more on the legs, but also focusing on the abs with a bit more intensity on the middle abs and the side abs. So I want you to lean back again. Take both feet out in front of you. Bring both knees in and scoop it down. In and scoop it down. In and scoop. And this you do for 20 repetitions. Good. My abs are on fire, but you know what? We need to get our summer bodies in check now, people. Let those abs burn now to look beautiful later on. Now, our next exercise is a very simple one. We're focusing on the arm muscles. So we're going to do some tricep dips on the edge of the bench. So hands go next to you. Take your feet slightly off the bench
And all I want you to do is dip it down and straighten the elbows. Dip it down and straighten the elbows. And this you do for 20 repetitions. Good, relax it up. Now we've worked the upper body, or we've started working the upper body. We focus on the legs and the abs. We're now going to focus on the chest area and the shoulders. So you get up off the bench and go to the back. We're now going to do a modified push-up. So I want you to keep your hands wider than shoulder width apart and take your feet back. And all that I want you to do is bend the elbows, chest towards the bench, and push it back up in a slow, controlled manner. This way, you don't get gravity to do all the work, the muscles work, and you're doing this for 20 repetitions. Good, up we come. Now, an amazing strength workout mixed in with some cardio, definitely ab work, but the one thing that many people forget in a workout is the flexibility and stretching. So we're going to end off today's workout by doing a hamstring stretch. So standing behind the bench, take your right foot up to the edge of the bench and keep your knees straight and just lean as far forward as you can. Hold that position and you feel the stretch in the back of the legs. Hold it for 25 seconds, then change over. And relax it down. Now that's how easy, simple, quick and efficient an outdoor workout can be. Now we've just done one set. If you are feeling up to it, do 2 or 3 sets of the same exercise and increase the number of repetitions that you do of each one of them. Now if you're feeling up for a challenge, why don't you challenge your friends and family to join you in the workout and see who's the fittest of the lot.
And that's a wrap for today's show. Do keep in touch with us via email on shapeyourlife@ann7.com for all your health-related queries, feedback and topic suggestions. From me, Ronald Avergy and the Shape Your Life team, goodbye.